Hello, everyone. This is Nora Armani again. And it's one of our 3 a week Meet the Filmmakers sessions. We are on session 6. We have already introduced and interviewed so many filmmakers that are in the official selection of SRFF 2025. This is our 12th annual edition, and it's hard to even believe that we could come this far uninterrupted annually, with the exception of 2 years, 2020 and 2021. Because of COVID, we were only online. And then when we came back in 2022, it became a hybrid film festival. And we have stayed hybrid since, because we realized that having the online section is very, very helpful for all those patrons who are viewing from abroad or outside of the United States, or even outside of New York, and cannot come to the cinema for whatever reason. This offers them an opportunity to at least view the films for a short period of time. So the online section doesn't kick in until after the in-person section closes. The in-person section opens on March 11, which is what, under 2 weeks now? Oh my God, time is kicking. Tick tock, the clock is ticking, and we are getting closer to our opening night. And it is at the National Arts Club. At 5:30 p.m., our red carpet starts, and at 6 o'clock, the program starts. We have a guest of honor that is worthy of mention, and it is none other than Dorothy Wiggins, who is an important social influencer and activist who we visited with yesterday. And she's such an inspiration to a lot of people, a lot of us who sometimes give up, who sometimes feel losing our self-confidence. She is 99 years old, and at 99 sets a wonderful example that there is so much to be inspired from. So we will have the honor of her presence on opening night. Then we have our Rejoice Resist BIPOC Films section, which takes place on the 12th and the 13th uptown in West Harlem. All these details are on the festival website. Following which, we come back downtown, and that takes place at Cinema Village from the 14th, 15th, on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of March. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with back-to-back programs of documentaries and narrative features, as well as 2 groupings of short films. On Sunday, the 16th, we have our awards evening, which takes place at the Henry Cultural Institute, a block and a half from the cinema. So we invite you to go on our website, look at all these details. We have a page that lists all the events, and another page that has the schedule at a glance. There are ticket buttons all over the place. So not that anybody should say, how do I get tickets? It's all there on the website. So without further ado, let me bring on our wonderful filmmakers today. And they will tell us a little bit about who they are, what their film is about, and then we will go back and discuss them some more. There we go. So we have Ariane and Adriana and Heidi. We also have Sonia, who might be joining us a little bit later. But for now, let's start with whoever is there. So who wants to go first? Maybe we'll go in a row, or maybe we'll jump in, whoever wants to talk about who they are and what their film is about.
Sure, I'll go. I'm Adriana Villi. I'm a filmmaker from Toronto, Canada, and we'll be in New York, myself and my partner, Sonia, Suvagau, who will be joining us soon. And our film is called Virgins by Choice, and it's about 2 best friends who are heartbroken and decide to make a crazy vow to abstain from sex for a year. I know, it's crazy. Imagine what can happen. Oh, and then you get to find out what happens, right? They realize many things in their year, and one of which is that true love has no timeline. So
yeah, this is very interesting because your film is a comedy, right?
it's funny. We have a really hard time like figuring out, it's a comedy, it's drama. It has such a comedic background with the whole the whole premise of the film.
Yeah.
But actually, there's so many dramatic moments with these two women going through heartbreak and abuse and healing and therapy. And so it's kind of an interesting mishmash.
Mixture, yes.
Yeah.
The reason I want to bring up the comedic section of it, because when people talk about socially relevant issues and they hear about all the social issues that we are dealing with, whether it's age, it's disability, it's human trafficking, women, and this and that, they go, oh my God, what a depressing film festival. Well, it's not.
That's right.
Not depressing, because we also have funny films. We have a lot of comedy, because comedy can be socially relevant. Through laughter, through comedic situations, you can talk about social issues. And we've had in the past as well some films that were very, very funny, some romantic comedies, some, so it's not all about depressive topics. So please don't put us in that category. So yeah, and who's next?
Well, I'm Ariane Greep, and the film I made is called The World According to Carlijn, in Dutch, De Wereld van Carlijn. And Carlijn is Carlijn Kingma, and she's a Dutch artist who is very young. She's now 33, and when we filmed her, it was 3 years ago. And we followed her because behind me you can see a drawing, and that's one of her drawings. And we bought that, my husband and I, who's also a filmmaker, and we looked at it every day and we thought, how in the world could you make a drawing like that? Isn't it interesting to follow this artist from day one, when she has a white piece of paper, to when a drawing is finished? And that's what we did. And then it turned out that the subject that she was drawing, which we were filming, was the financial system. And I will tell you a little bit more about that later. So it became a film that fits into a socially relevant film festival, because it has a little bit of a political flavor over it.
Yeah, it's interesting because art is something we go back into a lot in our film festival. And in fact, we do have a section that's screening at Cinema Village on Friday, the first of our series of our day, the first session of our day that day. And it's a collection of shorts which touch upon art and empowering women.
Wow, great.
So it's like we always feel that through art you can say so much. And
yeah, definitely.
Cinema in this case. So we come to Heidi.
Hi. Yes, my name is Heidi Philipsen, and I am extremely excited to be having my New York premiere of Love and Vodka at Socially Relevant, especially since this is my second film at Socially Relevant. I had my first about, almost 10 years ago, believe it or not. Love and Vodka it's a romantic fish out of water, sort of zany rom-com about Bobby Fox, who's a emerging writer, very socially awkward, can't find love, can't find adventures in life. So you have to ask yourself, how...
Oops.
Oh no.
Well, we have a freeze there, so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah, there she's.
You're back.
Should I start again? Where did you?
No, we got the fact that it's a rom-com and the background and all that. And go back and elaborate more.
Yeah, so Bobby runs into a Ukrainian girl, Katya, and he follows her to Ukraine. And by doing so, he runs into one really uncomfortable, crazy situation after the other. And it's not until he finds acceptance of himself that he understands how much he's accepted by her family. And, we started making this film. I was developing it prior to the war. But as a result of the war, we, though it is not a war film, it does have a sort of nod to that situation. And we brought it around so that we really profiled a lot of the Ukrainian refugees in Michigan.
Yeah,
where we actually shot it.
Yeah. So Sonia is back. I'm going to have her introduce herself. We know that she is also working with Adriana on the same film, but we want to hear you out. And then we're going to go back again in a row, or not a row, whoever wants to jump in at this point. And then we'll elaborate more about your film.
Yes, so sorry for my technical issues. It's one of those Murphy's Laws. I'm on a new computer now. We problem solved. So hopefully this works. I'm Sonia Suvagau. I'm one of the filmmakers of Virgins by Choice that I co-wrote, co-directed, and co-starred in with Adriana, who you got a pleasure to meet, I'm sure. And yeah, it was such a dream to work with your best friend and make a movie that is so meaningful and personal, and that puts in our expression of life as women and the sisterhood in one together. And the whole process from pre-production to post was like a healing journey. It was like the best kind of therapy to do. So it was just such a joy. And now getting to share it with audiences is so exciting. We're so thrilled to be coming to New York.
That is so nice. I'm so happy to have you. This is like an all-women cast here. Yesterday, we had all men, of course, with the exception of me, who was running the show. And I mean, yesterday, on Tuesday.
2 days ago.
Today, we have all-women cast. By the way, since we have the all-women cast, let me take this opportunity and announce that we have a panel, a webinar, which we do every year on March 8th. And that brings together all the women filmmakers who are programmed in our current edition of the festival. So there's many of you. We all get together on one big webinar, and everybody introduces themselves, talks a little bit about their film, and it's an opportunity to meet your fellow filmmakers and find out about their projects. So my next question to everyone, and no particular turns, you can jump in, is how did you get the idea of this film? And when, you can say whatever you want about it. When did you get idea? How did you get it? Why did you want to particularly tell this story and what it means for you?
Well, I'll jump in this time.
Yeah.
I had an author. His name is R.J. Fox, and he's a high school film teacher. Am I frozen?
Yeah, you are. I don't know why it's doing that. Do you have a cable? Maybe you should, in the meantime, we'll get somebody else, and then you should connect it with a cable instead of being on Wi-Fi.
It looks like the Wi-Fi is off. Yeah.
Try and see if I can just.
Yeah, there you are again.
Yeah.
I think it's when it's trying to burst. Anyway, I'll fix this, and maybe someone could go next.
Yeah. If you have the cable, if you're next to the box, you can maybe attach the cable.
Unfortunately, I don't. I just came from Berlin yesterday, so.
Yeah.
But you're doing fine now. Maybe you should just continue.
Great.
Yeah,
so
maybe we could just
talking
in my little box next to everyone else, like we're in a.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that he brought me this script, and I was just touched by it because it was intercultural. It was international, it was transatlantic, and my husband is from Berlin. I'm in an American-German relationship, and I understand everything about being a little bit out of your comfort zone in a different country and trying to make things work. So I think that's what really set me off in making it. And then along my journey of making it, as many of my fellow filmmakers would probably also attest to, there's the story, and then there's the story behind the story that occurs while you're trying to make it, right? And I never thought that we would be running into a pandemic, then the war on Ukraine, and then the strike. And ultimately, I think that the bigger story around all this is very socially irrelevant, is just the war and how we've been able to take this film, create a heart for Ukraine, and put the message out in terms of support for Ukrainian refugees and diaspora.
Yeah. It's interesting how, and your film is not even a documentary. So you see,
No, it's a
when we're making
comedy.
a documentary, it's natural to incorporate things that are happening in the meantime. You set off with a particular idea, and then when you're filming, you get, wow, this happens and that happens, and you can't just ignore, and you have to incorporate them. But when it's a narrative feature, scripted film, then it's a bit more difficult to incorporate whatever happens outside in the world. But you've done it. So
And I have a bit of a news and documentary background, actually. So when we shot this film, we shot it in 10 days. I worked with Ukrainian refugees in Michigan we did a casting, and it's their first role, many of them, and they're amazing. I mean, it's so authentic, and I was especially excited because it gave them an opportunity to use their culture, their language, in an otherwise completely sort of alienating and traumatic experience of being in a whole new country when you really just want to be back home, you know? And I think that comedy, I know that there's a lot of very important documentaries in film right now on the war in Ukraine, and they're essential to watch, but there's no way that I could tell that story. What I can do, however, is I can put out the hope and the determination to show Ukraine as I want to see it, as Ukrainian people want to see it. And that is with people, that's about their culture, their love, their strength as a family, and a little bit of romance and humor. And wasn't it Charlie Chaplin and many others who always showed us that you can still laugh in hard times, and by doing so, you help to fight oppression. So
absolutely, it's so important
Definitely.
that not to lose our sense of humor. Otherwise, what do we do? I mean, it's like so many terrible things are happening. Yes, whoever wants to give us more about their film.
I'll hop in there since I had tech issues earlier. I don't know if I'm repeating myself. So
No, I just gave the overview of Virgins by Choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was trying to think about it this morning, actually. How did we get this idea to have two best friends abstain from sex? Because it's not like we did that. Like, it's not like based on real circumstance. And I was like, I think this whole thing came to us like from a divine muse. I don't even remember, Adriana, maybe you can chime in here, but I feel like we channeled the whole movie. I don't even remember how we got that idea, but all of a sudden we had this idea. We were like, this is the movie, and we wrote it, and it just happened so organically. But I think it was kind of magic. Adriana, come in and tell me.
I mean, definitely. I think it definitely true. We talk about this a lot, how we decided we wanted to write a film together. That was the first thing. We're just like, let's make a movie together.
Yeah.
So we're like, yes, that's what we're going to do. And then from there, we really just opened ourselves up. We didn't have an agenda, and the story revealed itself to us as we went.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come from exactly anything, it's, not based on true story, right? It's like, but you take from your life as a woman, as a person, you take from stories that you've heard and different things, and you put it into something, and it kind of happened organically that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, I have a Christian Catholic background, so it's not like that idea of like, your sex is a special thing and you wait for sex, like, so that's like, something that I've known, right? So it's interesting. It's like, what would happen if, right? Yeah. Like, it's like getting that idea and saying what would happen if. And we ended up spending about a year together, just writing weekly. Like, we had like our weekly writing meetings, and the story just kind of, wrote itself. We wrote itself. We would be passing the laptop one to another. It was actually really wild.
But that's what I mean, Adriana. It's like the whole thing. I've never had such a spiritual experience making a movie. It really felt like we were in a trance, and we were just like, this is what's happening. And like, it was like everything inside us, like our DNA as women of this, like it was more than us. It's more than just our idea. I really feel like I love Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, where she says that she talks to the muses, and every idea is coming from a bigger source. And it's not your idea. It's that you just tapped into it, and then you're the messenger of a story. And I really feel like with this film, we were tapping into like a collective of the sisterhood. And it was such a unique experience to write that in a kind of a channeled way, in a very organic way with another person.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to have collaborations because you get the feedback, and the collaborator with whom you're working is basically your first audience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're getting the
yeah.
feedback, and you understand what is happening and so on, and how they are reacting, and you have a feel of, oh, how much might this sound if we put it out there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
these are things like, you know, again, it's like you draw from things that are deep in your heart, right? Like, you know, as a woman, like when you're 40, and if you're not in a committed married relationship, like that's a struggle people have, right? So it's like I mean, I am single, right? So you can like say, wow, like what does that feel like? What could a character be going through? And same thing with like abuse and like all these different things that we are faced with in life. And then like weaving them into your story. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, like to the different, at least that's what we thought from we've had our previous screening, like people were like, oh, there's so many different parts of the characters that you can relate to, because there's two women and they're going through various different things and struggles.
Yeah. And it's the situation of both of them singularly, each one on their own, and the two of them together. So there's so much ground that is covered. Yeah.
It's
so
three. It's just, sorry to interrupt. It's three films in one, really. It's Luna's story, it's Lily's story, and then it's the friendship story.
Absolutely.
So it's jam packed. 3 films for one.
Yes, that's your advertising our trio tickets. So I will take this opportunity and tell people that on top of it, we have a $12 trio ticket, which allows you to see 3 films or come to see the same film with 2 other friends.
That's
and
an
any
unbeatable
combination
price.
thereof.
You can't beat that price.
Yeah, it's $4 a ticket. You know,
Great.
you can't even get a latte for that nowadays. So yeah, so this is really cool. And now in your film, you're seeing 3 films in one, so that multiplies by.
Yeah. Think how many movies you're getting in this deal.
3 stories. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Ariane.
Yes, well, I'm the documentary filmmaker, so I don't have a narrative feature. But as I just said before, we followed an artist called Carlijn Kingma. And I have a book here, but I'm not sure you're going to be, I think it's not going to work if you see it close. You see that she draws with a pen in detail, figures, and then it turns out to a big drawing like this. And we were just fascinated by her work of art, and we followed her from the beginning when she had a white page in front of her and she starts to draw. But then it turns out that the subject she was drawing, started in 2022, was to bring the financial system in our world in one drawing. And that sounds maybe boring, like the financial system, but the financial system is crooked, you know, because the rich are always getting richer and the poor people can never get rich, because there's this system where when you have a lot of money, you get easier access to money, you can get easier access to loans. And what's happening now in the United States is kind of an example of that. Let's not get too political, but so we followed Carlijn, and the drawing was made for a museum that she made, and then she was chosen to exhibit her drawing. It's called The Waterworks of Money, because money flows like water down on a tower. And she was selected to go to the Biennale in Venice, and in the Dutch pavilion. She was there for 6 months with her drawing. So we were lucky that the drawing became famous, and we were selected for an international film festival in Rotterdam, and we were in the theaters also. So I wanted to make a drawing about an artist, and I ended up making a film about a political theme, like how are we going to balance wealth on this planet, you know, because it's not fair, the whole financial system.
Yeah. That is interesting, because that's part of the reason why we got fascinated with this film, because not only it's talking about a particular artist and their life, and then we try to usually stay away from films that talk about one person and their journey. A lot of times films come to us that are very well made and everything, but you feel like it's the biography of this person, even if they are going through a very important social issue or social situation. But in your film's case, because also she's dealing with the financial system, and it's a huge commentary about society, about the system that we are all caught in.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many billionaires nowadays, and during COVID, where everybody was suffering and having income loss, the billionaires became trillionaires and quadrillionaires. I don't even know if there are such words to describe how their wealth multiplies.
Yeah.
Whereas,
No, but it's like Adriana and Sonia were saying, and Heidi maybe also, that sometimes you just have a feeling that your film needs to be made, you know, and I was editing it for hours, you know. I was sitting up there in my room, and we had no financing. That's also interesting if you make a film where the financial system is being drawn out, because all the TV stations in the Netherlands said, oh, but she's so young, and can she carry the movie? And, you know, they had all kinds of things. And then when we finished the film, obviously they wanted to buy it. So thank God we got it on Dutch television. But yeah, the subject is interesting, and it grew. It became a different film than I thought in the beginning.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to ask Adriana to move a little bit to her right, because we have the festival logo, at least on my screen, it's like that, and it's covering half or if not all of your face.
Oh,
yeah.
On my screen, it doesn't show it that way. So
yeah, I know.
Okay.
It switches
So,
around,
to the
but
right?
Yes, there.
Yeah.
Oh, on my screen, it looks like I'm getting closer to the logo. That's great.
no,
Okay.
this is how we want to see you.
Okay.
That's much better. We were seeing half a face, and one eye closed and the other half. So yeah, and you can even move a little bit more. Don't worry about
Okay. I don't need to see what it really is. You see the real thing.
better. So yeah, as I said, when we program the films, we're always conscious about the social impact and what it's bringing. And personally, I always confess, and I always thank the filmmakers, and I will take this opportunity to thank you, as you are here in person or virtually in person, that it has a very strong learning curve experience, what we do. I mean, we have programmed 700 films from 40 countries until now, plus this year's selection. So we're close to 800 by now. And I go, wow, each and every one of these films has been about a subject that I either didn't know anything about or knew very little, or knew, but it was a pleasure to rediscover or learn more. And it has been an amazing reward, an amazing bonus to go through all these films and learn so much about what the filmmakers had to tell us. And also, our film festival does not go to the big film festivals and try to fish out what is already making a splash and what is already successful and bring them over. We go to the films that are submitted to us on our submission platform, because we are aware that these are films that need the platform to be heard. And if we don't do something about that, there is a good chance that they will completely go unnoticed, because a lot of them are at first sight considered so-called non-commercial films, and nobody wants to take a chance on them. But in a film festival, which we promote quite heavily, as you have been seeing on our social media, it's always there. People are going to say, okay, I got the point, I'm coming. So it's very important, because this offers the much needed platform for the filmmakers. And also, let's face it, New York is an important place where you can screen the films. And they get a chance to meet with a real audience, because there's nothing like being there in the same room and getting the Q&As afterwards. And all the films, we're always program it with an extra 10 minutes, even more, because we have to consider the changeover of one audience clearing and the other coming in, to give a chance to the filmmakers to be there in person and talk with their audience. And this gives you a wonderful feedback, not only about the film itself, which probably will still have a journey after our film festival, but also about forthcoming films that you might have. So I want to ask you all, how did you come to the Socially Relevant Film Festival? How did you learn about our existence? And what are your expectations by screening at SRFF?
Well, I think for me, as I said before, I had the incredible opportunity of screening Darcy there. And I think it was about 7 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Nora, that experience just blew me away. I mean, it was a wonderful platform in New York, and the events, the audience, your treatment of all of us, the fact that I felt that you understood us so much as true indie filmmakers, that sealed the deal for me when it came time to my directorial debut, which I've directed this by myself, and on my first feature, I co-directed with John Russell Kring. But this one is solo me, and I really felt that this film needed a platform that only Socially Relevant could actually give. And you know, when you, as a filmmaker, when you've done this a couple of times, you've gone to different film festivals, and you see that some don't fulfill the promises that they put out there. Well, SR does all the way. And once again, you've been showing this to me again, all your incredible team. And I have to say, I'm so excited that we get this platform in New York. Our cast is coming, many of our crew members are coming, and we just can't wait to celebrate this film, to bring a message about support for Ukraine right now, which is really necessary, I think, and to celebrate true indie filmmakers. Because when you don't have funding and you're doing the crowdfunding, and then you've got to do beyond the crowdfunding, you've got to get the film done and then market it and put it out there. It's so nice to know that there's a film festival that truly gets you and wants to help you carry that baton all the way to the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really pride ourselves for that, because unfortunately we don't have unlimited means. And I keep saying that to all the filmmakers. I wish we had the possibility of doing a longer run in person. That way we will offer more filmmakers to come and screen in person. Sadly, this is the limit. We stretch ourselves as thin as we can. And this is a good opportunity for me to put a message out there to all the filmmakers who may be listening now or later, because this broadcast is going to be on our YouTube channel, so people can come and look at it later. That the fact that not being selected does not mean that your film is bad, that we didn't like it. A lot of times we have so many beautiful films, and then we don't know how to select this one and not that one. And sometimes it is a matter of an ensemble of films that we are presenting in any one particular edition. And then suddenly this one doesn't quite fit in. Or sometimes we program it just because it becomes the contrast that we need. So there are no particular rules, but definitely it's not a reflection that we didn't like the film or it's a bad film. So and sometimes it's like that. What can we say? Hopefully in coming years we will get stronger and we'll have more screen time. And that's why the online version, online section, comes to the rescue. Unfortunately, there are so many film festivals nowadays that don't even screen films.
Mhm.
That is a sad truth. At one point, at the beginning of when we started, we used to look down upon the film festivals that only screened online and didn't have a personal in-person connection, and then an in-person component. And then when COVID came and nobody was able to screen in person,
Mhm.
when everybody was screening in online, then sort of the field was equalized. But then the ones that were screening only in person ended up not screening at all and just giving out awards, like a group watches and they decide, well, this one won, that one won. Maybe
Yeah.
they screen the winning films, or maybe they don't screen at all. And I'm like, what kind of film festival is this? That's not really a film festival, because film festival also includes the networking element, the bringing together of the filmmakers. Hopefully, collaborations spring from there. We have also industry partners that collaborate with us, such as Indie Pix, such as Cinema Libre, such as Herflix, who are our sponsors on the women's webinar on the 8th of March. And these are platforms that eventually will take your films for distribution. And we are very happy about that, because that means the films have a life after the festival. It's not just during the festival week. So who wants to say how they came to us? Yes.
Putting my hand up. So we were looking on Film Freeway. That's where we submitted from. But we were looking for festivals that were aligned with our mission. And when we stumbled upon yours, also we were looking for several key cities, and New York was one of them, because I love New York. So it's like, New York, what do we got? What do we got? And socially relevant. What is that? And then I'm reading and I'm like, wow, this is like speaking to my heart. This looks like a festival that is looking for stories about humanity, about like really important things, not just entertainment, shock value. And I was like, based off the mission statement on the Film Freeway page, I was like, this is one we got to hit. And I'm so happy we did. But I haven't had the chance yet to see the festival before, or I hadn't heard of it before. But I have a feeling that we'll want to return, is my guess. Is my guess. We'll have to make another movie to come back.
First next week.
We like to work with filmmakers that's been here, who have been here before, like Heidi, for example. And because we remember those experiences with fondly, and we feel like, wow, this filmmaker was so proactive. That's another thing I want to say. I had an interview earlier today with New York Women in Films and Television, and one of the questions was, what do you have to say to filmmakers? And two things. First of all, is read well what this festival is about before submitting blindly. And we do get a number of films that are neither socially relevant nor as full of violence, full of explosions, lots of dripping from daggers and stuff, and Kalashnikovs and things, because it's totally not us. And then I feel for that filmmaker and I go, have you read our guidelines before submitting? So we're not about to go and refund the fee, because we're not going to go that far, but at least this message should be heard so that they read it beforehand and submit it to the horror film festival instead of to us. So things like that. The other one is be proactive. Very, very important. Some people complain that I send a lot of emails with instructions, do this, do that, collaborate, and so on. But that's the name of the game. If this is a thing that we are all putting together. And when filmmakers make a movie and they want to hire a publicist to promote their film, they are hiring a publicist for one film. And we have 45 in this year's selection. We've had up to 72 a couple of years earlier. Like on the 10th anniversary, we went berserk and we said, okay, we're going to go for it this year. And then we calmed down a bit, because how can you promote 72 films?
Yeah, difficult.
I mean, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But when we have filmmakers that are proactive and they are doing their own part, taking their own responsibility in the matter, then the two together, we get to a result. And that means the core audience, that means the social media. That's why we ask to send us your social media handles. So when we post something about your film, we tag you, and then you share and we share, and so on and so forth, and it multiplies the effort. So we love to work with filmmakers who are like that and who don't go MIA, missing in action, and we're emailing after emailing and no response, and we go, sorry, I can't give you a prime time screening in the cinema when I haven't even heard from you in 3 weeks. I don't even know if you're still pursuing this profession. Maybe you're a medical doctor now, and you're in the middle of doing an operation. Who knows what they are, where they are. So we need to have that proactive relationship with the filmmakers. So who else? I guess we...
Well, I like Sonia said, I also found the festival on Film Freeway, but I was also, somebody also attended me. She said she's from a Dutch organization which promotes films in other countries, and she said, I think your film should go to the socially relevant film festival. And I looked it up, and I also had the same experience as Sonia. I was reading, I was thinking, wow, this is great. And I really also thought it would be great to go to the United States and to New York. I studied at Barnard College when I was 19. I came to New York because family was living there, and I stayed for 8 years. So for me, I was the first film student at Barnard College, and now I'm coming back with a film. So it's really incredible for me to be back in New York with a film showing there. And I also like being mailed and involved and thinking about how can I promote that my film is showing. And I looked at a lot of the trailers that were on the website in the narrative films and also the documentary. I saw all the trailers because I want to know who else is walking around, what films are being made. So I think most important is to meet other people and to share that you are all in, like Sonia said, you know, you're all in the same universe. We're all in the same universe, and we're all tapping in and trying to get these stories out to people. So that's what we're trying to do.
Totally. And becomes a family. And we're going to have a ball. We're going to have so many networking events. We're going to all socialize and have fun besides watching the movies and encouraging each other. I want to take a minute here and read some of the comments that came in. We have Ernesto Gonzalez, who says, good afternoon, is saying hello to everybody. And a remark that says 1001 nights. So I don't know what it means exactly. And her flicks, Adriana is here, and I will put up her message. Her flicks is pleased to support the socially relevant film festival. And we are so happy to have her flicks with us. As I said, it's going to be on the 8th of March. They are sponsoring the women webinar where we have all the women filmmakers grouped together in one. And we have another message from Mike Camoin. Congrats to SRFF and all the filmmakers. Go Heidi, love and vodka. And Adriana continues and says, me too. And this is cool. We have comments from our audience. All right. So my final question. No, I think Adriana, did you not?
I was just going to call. Yeah. So
the same. Yes.
Similar to Sonia, but yeah, we. I think the thing that stuck out for us, like, is just, you know, the raising awareness and positive solutions. So, I mean, that speaks to us. I think we both connect to that as filmmakers. You know, being able to raise awareness to, you know, different struggles that people go through, but then always offer that hope. So, and it was in complete alignment with the socially relevant film festival's mission as well. So it really is an honor to be able to be a part of that, and to be able to, again, meet other people whose films are similar vein, right? Like we're all in this together as part of this festival.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very interesting what you said, because what can we do? I mean, we are just a film festival. We are a nonprofit organization with limited possibilities, but we are a platform, and cinema is a very powerful medium. And through that, we can not only entertain, but enlighten people, draw their attention to certain issues and problems that are all around us. And maybe out there are people who actually can roll up their sleeves and go and do something about some of these social issues. So it's whatever you can do with whatever means you have at hand. And the whole thing comes together, hopefully, for a better planet, better future, better country, better everything. So let's work for that. So final round, and whoever wants to go can go, is talk about your next project. What other projects do you have in mind? If you don't want to tell us, give away or whatever, you don't have to. Tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Well, I'll start. In Europe, like in the United States, we have a lot of refugees. And in 2015, people might know, when the war in Syria got worse, people came from Syria. And of course, there's a lot of people all over Europe with big issues. And in the city where I live, there is an organization called Body to Body, and they put people who are refugees together with the local people. And out of this came a huge organization. And I'm now following a group of people that have started a big choir. And the choir is a mix of the refugees and the local people. And they sing together, and they sing, for instance, in Dutch, but they also sing in Farsi, Iranian, or in Arabic, or so depending on which song they take in the choir. And it's really an amazing story about how when you sing together, then all things, the differences fall away. You know, because you're just like one voice if you have this choir. So I'm following several stories, and that's the project I'm working on right now.
That is fascinating, because I always say that it's more important for us to focus on our similarities rather than on our differences. And of course, governments don't like that. Politicians don't like that, because people are following the policy of divide and conquer. They want to divide us. They want to create conflict between people, misunderstanding, discrimination, prejudices against each other. And by knowing the other, by collaborating with each other, and what better there is than music and art that puts us all together and reunites us. So that's a great project. We want to hear more about it, and possibly next year or the year after, when you're done with it, to bring it back with it.
I also think it's important, and my stomach turns when I see what happened the last couple of months in the United States. And what's happening every day. So I think it's really necessary that in America, people stand up.
Yeah. And by the way, tomorrow is No Spend Day. Are you all following that? We're not spending a penny tomorrow.
Okay.
We're not buying Amazon. We're not ordering anything. No spend. I was even thinking of closing our ticket thing tomorrow.
Definitely, you can buy local businesses that are direct, but no Walmart, no Amazon, no Target, none of them that are completely getting rid of their diversity, inclusion, and equity.
Absolutely, the big conglomerates that are taking our lives over. And of course, the Socially Relevant Film Festival is not one of those. So then I rethought about it, and I said, no, we're not going to close.
No, I agree. Don't close. No.
But Costco, Amazon, Temu, or whatever it is that you order from.
What's horrible is that Jeff Bezos is now also having his influence in is the newspaper that he owns. So even the media is not independent anymore. So that's really terrifying. And we know that in Europe. This has happened 80 years ago.
Right.
90 years ago, right before the Second World War. So for us, it's a lot of people in Europe are saying, oh my God, what is happening here? Yeah.
And Ariana, I mean, I'm in Berlin, and I know I've got kids in the Netherlands studying at the university. So I know that the danger is both in the Netherlands and in Germany, and it's all around right now. So they're all sort of edging each other and exciting each other more. And I think we really need to tap them down and show that the people's will for democracy is alive and strong.
Yeah, totally.
Agree.
More next projects?
Yeah. Adriana, Sonia, why don't you guys go ahead first?
Sure, we can do this together, Adriana. I don't know, can you do a split screen? I don't know. So
unfortunately, I don't have a way of bringing just you, because then you have to kick Heidi and Ariane out of the studio. And then
well, that's fine. I love the group visual. So we've got we had such a blast making this film that we were like, okay, we're going to be doing this for life. So we have to be constantly writing. But in the meantime, just to do this film justice, we've decided that we're going to start our own YouTube channel called Virgins by Choice. And we've already started filming the episodes where we go in deeper into the themes in the film and just talk about it and what the process was like making that, and just discussing and opening the conversation and inviting conversation in with the chat, and basically building a following for the film so that when we are ready for distribution, we've got a little bit of an audience. So we're excited. We're probably going to premiere our first episode on Women's Day. So by the time, and we're going to be featuring our adventures in New York in one of the episodes as well.
That's
great.
So cool.
We'll be covering the festival.
It's not at the same time as our webinar.
Oh, no. I mean, that we will launch it. It's not live. It's not live. Edited. Yeah.
Because on our webinar, it's from 1 o'clock. Usually the Meet the Women, Meet the Filmmakers, our chats like this 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, are from 12 to 1. But the webinar on 8th of March is from 1 to 2. So it's a little later.
We'll be there.
You should mail that. Yeah.
We'll be there.
Well, we'll launch right after the webinar. We'll post it so we don't distract anyone.
Okay. And Heidi, any future projects?
Yeah. I have a slate, and they all have a common theme, and that's sort of transatlantic. So there's one called The Bitter End, which is actually a Dutch-German co-production that lines up also with New York. And I have another romantic comedy called Kidnapping Love, or the Kilometer High Club. So I've got those. But I think the other one I've really is very meaningful for me right now is a script that I'm on the 3rd draft, and it's called Every Breath is a New Beginning. And it's based upon my experience being in Berlin as an expat when the war broke out in Ukraine and the refugees came piling into the main train station. And some of my efforts to help a lot of them, and to help them find places to stay, ways to learn German language. And it's not directly a documentary, nor is it really about exactly that moment, but it was definitely, this script is very meaningful for me, and it really sort of outlines the spirit of that, when you're displaced, and how you find, in spite of this displacement, how do you find a home in the earth and the area around you? So
yeah, very, very interesting. And I always forget that I'm first and foremost an actress.
Yes, you're an amazing actress too. I've seen some of your stuff.
And the past 3 years, at the beginning, when I was doing the film festival, I was thinking, okay, there goes my acting career. I'm never going to act again because, I'm putting so much time into this. How can I find the time to audition or anything? But no, that wasn't the case. Even the first year, I connected with a filmmaker who was casually saying, I'm doing a film and it's about this and that. And I go, oh, isn't there a character like this, like this, like this in it? And she goes, actually, there is. I said, can I audition for it? And she, yeah, we did. And, you know, it was an amazing collaboration. And since then, such similar collaborations have come about. And the last one of which was with a Finnish filmmaker, Rax Renikangas, who was with us 2 years ago. Very Bergman-esque, Ingmar Bergman.
Right.
The rhythm and so on and so forth, and black and white and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be in this film. Well, I can't be in this film because it's finished. But for some reason we connected, and I co-starred in 2 of his films since then. One of them called The Last Wish, and the other one, The Jukebox, which is just out. In fact, on the 8th, it's going to have a preview screening at the Helsinki Udi. At the
really?
Gina.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
You know, Nora, I just wanted to butt in and say, I think it's incredible that you're doing that, because the thing is, you really also, you understand the filmmaker's point of view, you understand the actress's needs and point of view. It would be much different if you're, and I don't want to just say just an artistic director, because that's a huge thing in and of itself. But I think you understand what I'm saying, when you can really put yourself in people's shoes and you get them and what they need and you give that to them, and then you get to go do it yourself. So
I hope so. I hope so. And we're all in the same boat. Like whoever said it earlier, it's like it's us against them sort of thing. And the them is the bad guys. And we are all in this together. If we don't come together and hold each other by the hand and encourage each other, it will be very easy to defeat us all, because they go by the divide and conquer principle, and we won't take it. So we have 4 more minutes. If anybody wants to jump in and pitch something, or maybe there are big people out there with checkbooks and their conscience is bothering them, that they have been doing nothing but amassing funds, but now they want to give it back to the filmmakers. I am forever the optimist. And we encourage them to write their checks. So don't worry about it. We know how to use that money properly.
And it's tax deductible. So there you go, you know. Well, I'm curious, is everyone's film screening on Saturday? Or could people say when their film is screening? I don't know if we put that out.
Yes, I think this group, they are all screening on Saturday. Right. Saturday, March 15 at Cinema Village.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to spend all day at the Cinema Village seeing everybody's movies, basically.
Right, absolutely.
Definitely.
My choice is at 2 p.m. The World According to Carlijn is at
5:45.
Mm-hmm. And Heidi, Love and Vodka is at 7 or 7:30?
I think you said 7:20.
7:20.
I'm definitely making sure we're there at 6:45, if not earlier, because we'll be seeing
Tell people
Ariana's film and then Adriana and Sonia's film.
Yes. And usually on the festival days, we also have happy hours on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday, it's our closing night. So we're not doing a happy hour because the closing itself will be the happy hour. Mm-hmm. And it's between the films, so that you can come to the happy hour, run to see the film, and then, or come see the film and then come to the happy hour. So it's organized that way. And they're not very far from the cinema area, so you can do both. You can be in both places at the same time. So we have 1 more minute. Let me see if there are any more new comments. I guess not. And we are happy to have our listeners. And it's been also broadcast on our Facebook channel, on our Facebook page simultaneously, and on my own personal Facebook page, because I have over 6,000 or something.
Oh.
People.
Oh, I have to like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, I keep getting friend requests and I can't add friends because it's
it's too much. Yeah. Well, But here in Europe, in my friends, everybody's going off WhatsApp and off Facebook, and
Right.
like a political statement. But I think it's still necessary for
I know. I'm fortunate.
promotion.
I've thought about it many times, but I can't because we're
No.
promoting the film festival. We're promoting. I'm personally promoting my own films, my own acting, and so on. And let's face it, this is the way people can find you nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a huge
Would you maybe send an email that about the 8th, that it's at 1 o'clock? For me, that's 7 o'clock in the evening, because I don't think it was on the mail that the women webinar is an hour later.
It's on the website.
Oh, it's already, that's an hour later. Okay, and then I didn't see
on the website. It's announced what time it is, and you have to register. When you have responded to the RSVP and said you want to take part of it, the women filmmakers who have said they will take part of it will get a special invitation as panelists.
Okay.
But there is also a public link that anyone, not necessarily connected to the festival, and whether they are any gender, can come and be an attendee.
And is it a seminar like this? Like you have?
Yes. It's
okay.
Except it's not going to be on YouTube because this one caps it at 10 participants.
Okay.
So on Zoom.
Zoom, we'll get an invitation. Great.
Many more people as a webinar. Okay, I am going to go offline now, but don't go because we can still chat a little bit. Did you want to say something, Sonia?
Oh, no, I was just saying goodbye. Again, looking forward to
I have to
everyone
go.
and Martine.
So it's 7 o'clock here in the evening.
End the emission. There we go. And the stream.